So, in this episode, we're going to talk about, does it mean that you're not pretty if you are overweight? All right, we're going to get into this. Let's go. Welcome to the Overweighted Podcast, where we get real about the struggles of being obese and needing to lose a whole lot of weight. My name's Malaika. I'm your host, weight loss mentor and coach. Join me on my personal weight loss journey to lose about 200 pounds, and as I share my very real experiences, plus some simple, successful, and sustainable weight loss tips and mindset shifts so that we can mark lose weight off of our to-do list for good. So after the episode where I interviewed Tia Finner about her weight loss surgery, and we were really unpacking whether weight loss surgery was a good option for others, one of the things that she mentioned when we were kind of texting back and forth is that when she was overweight and considering to have weight loss surgery, one of the things for her was never that she didn't feel pretty. And I know I kind of mentioned that in the episode when I asked her, well, what were some of the changes that she mentioned? And I know for me, it was that I didn't necessarily feel pretty when I was more overweight than I am currently. And so she mentioned, though, that for her, she never felt unpretty. And so I really wanted to talk about whether being overweight, obese, fat, whatever word you use really equates to being pretty or not in these standards that we have in our society. Also, I want to talk about increasing your confidence, how you can feel pretty, and really getting to a point where you're not caring what others think about how you look. And so we're going to talk about that in this episode. Before I do that, I want to invite you to the Transformed You Intensive. This is going to be an in-person event with me and two other amazing speakers, and we are really going to be speaking and pouring into and equipping Christian women who have really struggled with their weight for years and are at a point where they know God is calling them to more, but their weight's kind of holding them back. Maybe they don't have the self-esteem, the confidence that they would want to have to be able to fully step into who God has called them to be. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're looking to go into ministry, but it could be business, even your role as a wife and mother, but you know you're just not really fully showing up for yourself in that role that God has for you because of your weight and your thoughts about your weight and maybe growing up and the labels that the enemy has tried to put on you because of your weight. And so I would love for you to join us. It's transformedyouintensive.com is where you can get more information and also register. It's going to be Saturday, September 9th in Greenville, South Carolina. I would so love for you to join us. I would love for you to be there in person so that I can meet you in person and hug you and love on you. And also you're going to get to meet the other two amazing women that will be there as well with me. And so we just want to pour into you, equip you, and it is so time for God's daughters to arise. The theme for the event is elevation. So again, go to transformedyouintensive.com and you can find out more information about the intensive. It's a one-day workshop, and also get registered there as well. And side note, if you hear like clicking in the background, it's my dog walking around. We don't have carpet in the house, so that's what all that tapping is in just about every episode, just so you know. All right, so let's get into this. So the reason I wanted to talk about this too, like I said, Tia had mentioned that for her, she never didn't feel pretty as someone overweight. And I think because of, at least with the beauty standards here in the U.S., or how the beauty standards used to be in the past, I do see that they're changing. They are being more accepting of other races, other sizes, other types of beauty in the U.S., but typically, at least for my age group growing up, there was like this certain beauty standard. And so someone overweight or obese may not typically be considered pretty. And because you have all these images in the media and the things that you're growing up constantly seeing that you're being told is beautiful, well, if you don't look like that, then that can really mess with your image of beauty and how you see yourself if you don't look like those things. And so I know for me personally, when I started gaining weight, I did not feel pretty. Really, So I thought it was really interesting that Tia said she did. That was never a thing for her, that she didn't feel pretty when she was overweight and gaining the weight. And so that's why I wanted to talk about this because, first off, if you're watching this on YouTube, comment below and let me know if you are overweight or obese. Do you consider yourself pretty? Or does your weight really affect how you see yourself as far as beauty? So let me know. But the reason I wanted to bring this up too is because I mentioned to her when we were talking that I had this short on YouTube that went viral. And in the short, I was saying how my clothes don't fit anymore. So it was the very beginning of my weight loss journey. And I was documenting my weight loss journey on YouTube. And so I had all these clothes in my closet that didn't fit. And so I was just trying on these various things and saying how my clothes don't fit. I need to lose weight now was really what I was saying in that short. And so there was a lot of encouraging comments. There were some that were not encouraging whatsoever. So obviously those comments just got deleted because I didn't really need to hear what they were saying or have that in my space. But for the most part, most people were very encouraging, like, you can do this. You got this, because I was basically saying that I was starting my weight loss journey through this short. But there were also lots of comments that people were saying, you can do this. It doesn't matter. You're beautiful, or there would be comments just saying you're beautiful. You're so pretty, whatever. There was a slew of comments of people just telling me how beautiful I am. And now, granted, they were very supportive comments. I don't believe they meant anything by that whatsoever. But the point is, I was mentioning in the short how I was fat or how I was overweight and my clothes didn't fit. I never said I didn't think I was pretty. And I will say too, at that time, I didn't really have necessarily thoughts of me not being pretty at that time. I wasn't saying anything about my beauty whatsoever. I was saying I was overweight and my clothes didn't fit. So why were they assuming that I meant that I also didn't feel pretty or that I didn't see myself as pretty? And so that's why I wanted to have this episode, because it seems that there's this thing that overweight automatically equals unpretty. And we know that is not the case. I've seen so many beautiful women that are overweight, and I've seen women who may not be considered so beautiful who aren't overweight, right? So anyway, so that made me want to have this episode. And again, comment, let me know if you are overweight or obese, and if you feel pretty in the current skin that you are in. And what really was for me, it wasn't so much that I had gained weight and that I didn't feel pretty anymore, because I still did feel pretty for a long time, even when I was gaining the weight. What happened for me, and when I really started to not feel pretty, was at the point where my face started gaining so much, weight that I didn't recognize myself anymore. So when I looked in the mirror, I didn't look like myself anymore. And that was the point where I really started to feel like I didn't feel pretty anymore. So it wasn't necessarily my body and the fact that my body was close to 400 pounds. It was the weight that was on my face that, it really had taken out all of the shape and everything in my face. And I just didn't look the same anymore. I could look in the mirror and I really was like, who am I, right? Like, I did not look the same anymore. So that was the thing for me that really made me get to that point where I didn't feel pretty. So I want to talk about 1, feeling pretty, 2, increasing your confidence, and 3, not caring about what others think. So when I think about feeling pretty, really, your weight and feeling pretty really does not have to go hand in hand, right? Really, one has nothing to do with the other. I've seen women at larger sizes that are beautiful. They carry themselves well. They know they're beautiful. I would think about Monique, the actress, when she was out and she was overweight. Like, she really just exuded this confidence that she had. And also, I remember, and this sticks in my mind because I remember her beauty and her confidence. There was a woman at an event that I was attending. I was a vendor at this event, and she was obese at the time, and she came in, she had on a white t-shirt, and she had on this big white tutu skirt. And I remember thinking, wow, like she is amazing. Like I want to have that type of confidence, because at that time I was overweight. I wasn't as large as she was, but I saw that she was just owning who she was and not really caring about what other people think, and that she just was really comfortable in her skin, or at least that's what she was portraying. And I wanted to be like that. I just wanted to feel pretty just the way I was. And that's exactly what she was doing. She was wearing what she wanted to wear, and feeling pretty and owning that. And I remember at the time I was thinking, I could never wear a big tutu skirt like that. I would love to. I love petticoats. I love like 50s and 60s type of apparel. So I would love to wear like a big fluffy skirt. But wearing that skirt when you're already big just makes you bigger and makes you take up more space. And so I was like, I can't do that. How does she do that? Right? So there are so many people out there that feel beautiful at every size. And so again, one really has nothing to do with the other. It's really about you knowing who you are, knowing how you feel. And so I had to get to a point where I needed to start feeling pretty again. So like I said, it really wasn't so much the size. Yes, my size affected things as well, because it did affect things that I wore as well. But I really stopped feeling pretty when I got to a point, like I mentioned, where my face started changing. And that's when I didn't recognize myself anymore. And that's when I didn't feel pretty. So on this particular weight loss journey, when I started losing weight and my face started coming back, that's when, for me, I really started to feel pretty again. It was really seeing my face come back again. And I was like, there I am. There, I mean, my face is still round. You know, I still have extra fat on my face and things, but I could see like somewhat of a chin. Like it wasn't just, you know, going straight from my face to my neck. I could see some shape in my cheeks and the sides of my face, right? Once that started coming back, I started feeling pretty again. And one of the things that I would do to help me in this area as well, and I still do today, for those of you that don't know, I am still on my weight loss journey as well. At this point, I've lost over 80 pounds, but my ultimate goal is to be somewhere around 200 pounds down. So I still have about 100 pounds or so that I want to lose. But I am doing things that make me feel pretty. And so that's one of the things that I want to suggest to you, is that you do little things that will help to make you feel pretty. So taking that time maybe to focus on beauty. Maybe for you, it could be something so simple, like for me, just putting on a lip gloss that I really love to wear, or just putting on a little bit of mascara. I'm not really that person that does a full face of makeup. Not that I never would, but just day to day, I don't. But when I put on my lip gloss, I put on some mascara, I feel a little bit prettier. And for me, even if I don't have any of that on, if I put on my hoop earrings, I feel like I look pretty when I do that. If I go out and I don't have my hoop earrings on, I don't feel so pretty in those instances. So do little things that will make you feel pretty and that will make you feel beautiful. And that's going to help overall the way you feel about yourself. And I notice when I start to do those little things, then you want to do a little bit more. So now I'm really intentional about things that I wear and feeling pretty in the things that I wear. And so I make sure I do that as well. And so one tip that I want to give is to do the things that you can to make yourself feel pretty. Even if you don't feel 100% beautiful the way you want to feel, just doing those small little things are going to add up, and you're going to feel pretty, and it's also going to help you to increase your confidence. And that's the second thing that I want to talk about, increasing your confidence in the body that you're in, just the way you are. And the way that I like to do that is taking like really small steps of courage. Because if you take these small steps of courage, that helps you to feel more confident. Because when you take one little small step and you see that it works out well, then now you're willing to take the next step. And then you see that works out well and you take the next one. And all those steps and towards courage and realizing that I did this and it worked out well, that actually helps to build your confidence to where you're ready to do the next thing. And so for me, one of my small steps of confidence was getting a tutu or a petticoat, right? So I was really loving, like I said, the way that particular lady looked. And so once I got to a point where I started feeling like my face was looking pretty again, I was like, I wonder if I can wear a tutu. Can I buy one? I'm going to buy one. And then I was like, but what are people going to think when I wear it? Is it going to be too big? How big am I going to look when I wear this, right? But I took that small little step and I wore it. I wore it for the first time. And you know what? I got compliments in that tutu. And these were genuine compliments from people, right? I could tell. And so I got compliments. And so that gave me the courage and the confidence to step out and do something else. And so I'm like, well, maybe I could try to wear heels, a little bit higher heels, because one of the things for me with being overweight is that I would always wear flats all the time. I would wear flats and I would not wear tutus because my goal as someone that was bigger, obese, is that I didn't want to take up more physical space than I needed to. That was a way for me that I thought I was hiding. And so I would not wear tutus, right? But now I wear tutus. I have a black one and a purple one now. But also I would not wear heels because now I'm like, that would make me like a taller, bigger person, and I'm taking up more space and I'm more noticeable. But I've slowly been starting to wear heels, and granted, they are kitten heels, so they're short heels. But when I feel confident enough, I will go up to a bigger heel. Now, honestly, a part of the reason I'm not in a bigger heel is because I'm a little afraid that it will not be able to support all of my weight. All right, let's be real. But when I feel a little more confident, and then I will try a bigger heel and try to see if it will support my weight. But doing those small steps of courage has really helped to build my confidence. And so I want to encourage you to do that as well. And one of the other things that you can do to help increase your confidence is mimic other people that you see that have a lot of confidence and that you want to be more like them. And now I'm saying confidence, not arrogance, right? We know there's a difference. But when you see someone that has this great confidence, then mimic some of the things that they do. There was a saying that I heard back in business years and years ago that it's okay to be a copycat if you copy the right cat. Right? And so copy those people that have the type of confidence that you want to have. And what I mean by that is, for instance, when I was reading about confidence a while back, it was saying that one of the things that confident people tend to do is that they tend to walk at a slower pace, right? It's like they're not in a rush. They know they own the room. And so they tend to walk at a slower pace. And so that might be something that you want to start to mimic and think about it. And when I thought about it for myself, I realized that, you know what, I do seem really hurried all the time when I'm going places. And that goes back to, again, me trying to not take up space and trying to, get out of the way and just get in and out and not be seen, right? Whereas someone confident, they're walking slow, they're walking intentionally, they are taking up the space and not caring if people notice them. So again, mimicking other people with confidence is another way that it could help you to increase yours. So take those small steps of courage and then mimic other people that have confidence the way that you would like to have it. And the third thing I want to say about being overweight and feeling pretty is really getting to a point where you don't care what other people think. And it's not that you don't care about people, right? Because we do care about people, but really getting to a point where you know who you are in God and what He says about you. And so what someone else says about you doesn't really matter. And that really goes to what someone says about you, whether good or bad, right? Because sometimes we can really look for the applause of men and want to get all of these accolades, affirmations. I'm trying to think of the other word right now, but all the good things that they say about us. But if we know man, that can turn in a minute to where now they're saying something negative about you, right? So whether someone's saying something good or bad, that really doesn't faze you, or it doesn't affect how you feel about yourself. And so really sitting in your identity in God, in Christ, in who He says you are and what He says about you. And so one of the things that's really going to help with that is working on your mindset, and working on, again, knowing just who you are in the Lord. And so you can sit down and even journal that out. Like, who does God say I am? And ask Him, Lord, who do you say I am? Right? And I guarantee He's going to tell you you're beautiful because He created you. Have you seen the sunsets? The sunsets are beautiful. Rainbows are beautiful. He created you too, just like He created those things. So you are beautiful. And just knowing that and sitting in that. And He tells you you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so knowing that, owning it, and not worrying about what other people say about you and who they try to say that you are, because you know who God says you are. And that's the identity that you're going to cling to. And again, with working on mindset, just working on with the coach and working on those inner thoughts, that inner mean girl that may pop up when you're trying to take those steps of courage, or you're trying to do little things to make yourself feel beautiful. That mean girl is probably going to pop up in your head and try to tell you, well, who do you think you are? That doesn't really look beautiful. Like, nice try. Whatever she says to you, really working on your mindset and learning how to take those thoughts captive and replace them with truth, because we know that that's not really truth. She's just trying to make you kind of self-sabotage and stop doing the things, right? Working on your mindset with a coach, or getting in some type of community where you are with people that are doing that same type of thing will really help you with moving forward and not caring about what other people think, and caring more, again, about what God says about you. And your mindset, working on your mindset, is going to help you with the way you think about you. And one of the other things I had to realize with this too, with thinking about what others are thinking about me, is I had to get to a point where I realized other people aren't really thinking about me that much, right? And that's just something that you learn over time as you get older. Other people are thinking about themselves, and they're thinking about what others are thinking about them, right? They're really not thinking about you that much. And I had to get to a point where I realized they really aren't thinking about me in particular that much. They're more concerned with themselves and what other people think about themselves. But in the end, it doesn't matter what they think, like I said. And so one little thing I would suggest too, besides like journaling out who God says you are, is sitting down and get like a 1 inch by 1 inch piece of paper. And when I say 1 inch by 1 inch, I mean that is like really small. Let me show you here. Well, for those of you on YouTube that can actually see what I'm doing. So 1 inch by 1 inch is really tiny. That is a tiny piece of paper. And what I want you to do is write down first at the top of that paper, God, if you are a believer. So God is going to be the first thing on the top of that paper. And then the rest of the things I want you to write on there are the names of the people whose opinions actually matter, right? And so most likely that's going to be the people in your household. If you're married, that's probably your spouse. If you have children, that may be your children on that piece of paper as well. And you're not going to write names on the front and back. You're only going to use one side of that paper. And when someone gives you their opinion, what you do is carry this paper around with you. When someone gives you their opinion of you, or what you look like, or what they think about you, you pull out that little piece of paper and see if their name is on that list. If their name isn't on that list, then their opinion probably really does not matter. Not when it comes to your appearance, not when it comes to what you look like, not when it comes to the things that you may be doing for God, how you're showing up in the world, right? Those opinions are not going to matter if they don't fit on that little piece of paper, and you're only going to be able to fit about 4 or 5 names on that paper, depending on how small you write. All right, so that is it. That's what I have for you. Being fat, being overweight, being obese does not mean that you are unpretty. It's really, the two really have nothing to do with one another. Being a certain size does not mean that you are beautiful or not beautiful, whether that size is big or small. It just means that you're bigger or smaller. It doesn't mean you're beautiful or not beautiful. And I just want you to remember that. And if you are at a place where you're not feeling pretty, then take some of these tips to start feeling pretty, start increasing your confidence, and getting to a point that you are not caring what others think about you and how you look, and also working on how you feel about how you look as well. All right, I will see you next time. I hope you have an amazing day, and I also want to see you in South Carolina on September 9th at the Transform You Intensive. Again, that link is in the show notes, and I will see you next time. All right, bye-bye. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If you got any value out of this or something really resonated with you, can you do me a favor and leave a review? It helps others find the show so that it could help them too. Also, I'd love to connect with you on other platforms. I'm Malaika Burley on IG and YouTube. And go grab my free workshop at malaikaburley.com. Of course, all of those links are in the show notes. Thanks again and have a blessed day.